Hello, my name is Dylan Smith, and I run a video production company that specializes in documentary and corporate work. Today I'm going to talk about the one piece of equipment that made me stop caring about buying new cameras and new lenses and autofocus in general. What I'm talking about is the Helios 44-2 or any vintage lenses. Now, it might look weird, might look strange to you, but this piece of equipment has really helped me succeed. It has helped me get really unique looks. So to show you how unique of a look it gives you, right now I'm currently using a 20mm f3.5 to film this. Let's switch to this lens here. Let's go back in time a little bit. The first 3 years of me being a videographer, me having my own video production company, I really worried about autofocus. I used Canon 5D Mark IV, Canon R6, and I really just kept thinking, oh my god, I'm missing all these shots, the autofocus is not as good as it needs to be. I really just kept blaming the camera for why is this focus not working? They didn't really have any tools that really allowed you to use manual focus that well with completely hitting a switch on a lens, which would take too long and you'd miss the shot. So I really just I was like, what is going on? I need a better camera. I need the R5. It's gotta be something better than this. And then all of a sudden I stumbled upon vintage lenses and I stumbled upon the Helios 44-2. And really just about any vintage lens applies to this. I personally don't own any other vintage lenses. I plan on getting more soon. I purchased this lens because I saw tons and tons of videos with it, and it just creates this really unique look that I just loved. And you can get it for about $100. I think you can get it for a little more than that now used on eBay. But this lens is a lens from the 1970s that was made by the Soviet Union. Putting this lens on my R6 at the time changed the colors of the R6. It made everything just look a little more soft. It made it look more nice. The colors looked more filmic, looked more pastel-y. And it just gave me this really cool look that I really liked. And I was like, I'm going to use this all the time now. And it did take me a little bit to get used to manual focusing everything. Because with this lens, there's absolutely no autofocus. Thanks to things like focus peaking and things that are built in the camera that just allow you to manual focus better. I got used to it, and then when I switched to the Lumix cameras, it made it even easier because there's even more manual focus features. And if you don't have a camera with focus peaking, then I would definitely suggest, if you are thinking about getting a lens like this or any vintage lenses, get a monitor, get a good monitor. Don't get some $100 cheap one, get a good $200 or $300 one. After I got this lens, I really stopped worrying. I stopped thinking, oh, I need better autofocus, or I need better this, because it just allowed me to control. It allowed me to get really unique shots. And other people are going to be in the comments like, oh, you need autofocus, oh, your autofocus in your camera sucks, you need it. And that's kind of what I guess modern sort of tech companies like Sony and all these companies trying to sell cameras, they just want you to think that you need autofocus. But if you think about it, they didn't have autofocus in the 70s, they didn't have autofocus in the early 2000s, they didn't have good autofocus, and still in movies nowadays they're using manual focus lenses. They use these big cinema lenses, which often are based on lenses like the Helios 44-2. If you have been considering getting cine lenses and spending $1,000, $500, I know you can get some for pretty good deals now, pretty affordable. This one you can get for $100, and it creates this really unique look. This lens has really just allowed me to stop worrying about oh, I need the newest camera, oh, I need the newest thing. And it's also just creates this very pleasing look. The edges are a lot softer, and what's closer to the center is more in focus, which just allows you to sort of frame up your images in a different way and puts more focus on your subject as long as they're close to the center. Now, that is something you got to think about, is this lens just has different characteristics about it. If I take this little light I have in the back here, you see this sort of glow. This is not any effect of the camera I have. This is not any effect I'm doing in post. This sort of glow that you're seeing here is a natural lens artifact that I really love. If you're doing concert photos or you're doing concert videography and you got all these lights that are shining around, this effect is really, and it also creates this very swirly bokeh that's more artistic and just just gives something a different look and just makes your images a little more unique. Personally use this on every project now. This is usually the lens I start off with, and then I switch to like a 16-35, something wider. The also really cool thing is if you buy one of these vintage lenses, as long as they're M42, which is kind of like what most of them are, most of the vintage lenses are M42, you can adapt it to any camera manufacturer because there's no electronics in it. There's nothing like that's telling it. Like you literally can buy these adapters for like 10, 20 bucks. Lumix, Canon, Sony, Olympus, Nikon, just about any of them. You can adapt these vintage lenses and they just create these just amazing looking images, and you can do tons and tons of research to figure out which one of these is the best. I will say if you want a wider angle lens, it's going to cost you a little more. It seems like 50mm is just the cheapest, and there's the most of them. That's the reason I haven't bought another one, because I do want a Nikkor AI is what I want, 20mm or 24mm, because it just creates this amazing look, but it is a little more expensive than something like the Helios. This is just something you can consider. It's something that I feel like if I discovered it ages ago, if I discovered it years before I did, I would have invested earlier, and it could have made some of my projects a little better, some a little more unique. At the end of the day, the more stuff you can do to make yourself stand out as a filmmaker, as a video production owner, as even a photographer. This is, like I said, a very great photography lens too. I definitely would not shoot sports photography with it, although I am shooting most of my soccer documentary with it, but that's a documentary and I have focus peaking, so I kind of can hold shots, and it's really just, it's not for shooting action, it's for shooting like these really intimate moments. So that's just something for you to think about. You probably will go down like a big rabbit hole full of just lens reviews and watching all these videos on these different lenses like I did. It's a whole new world. So I hope you guys enjoyed, hope you guys learned something new. If you did, please let me know. I'd love to start a conversation in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.